Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back after 4 years. Uh, I don't want to get into where I've been for the past few years. I'm sure you clicked this video to know about Octane renderer for Blender, so let's get right into it. Uh, so I'm assuming that you already have an Octane renderer in your computer. So Octane has two versions, right? Like the one is their free Prime version, which is pretty awesome. That has all the features. Only thing is that you can't render it using multiple GPUs. So if you only have one GPU, you're good to go with the free version. And there's a studio version which has like the multiple GPU support as well. So once you have this is a custom startup file that I have, which already has a kernel setup and everything. But we'll get started from scratch. I'll create a new scene. So this is ideally how it's going to look once you start a new open the Blender Octane for the first time. If you switch to Octane and you run it, it's most likely going to give you a black uh, image, which is not what we want. So the easiest way to like have a startup scene is going to be like go to File, New, and Octane default startup. This will set up like a kernel for you. So all that like this will automatically take care of it and will set up a sky environment, Octane sky environment, and gives you a material as well. But let's see how to create all of this from scratch. Let me go to a new scene again. Yeah. So let's switch to Octane. First thing is like let's set up the kernel. So Octane has, let me give a new default kernel. Don't worry about that. Let's look at this. So there's multiple ways of rendering in Octane. So there's direct lighting, which is the most basic version that they have. It does not calculate the secondary bounces, so it's a whole lot quicker. But that's not what we'll be using. Most like 99% of the time, you'll be okay with rendering with path tracing. Let's say if you have something like you want to render caustics and all that, photon tracing might come in handy because like that's a very much more accurate version of the path tracing kernel. At least that's what I believe. But yeah, it does caustics a lot better. Photon tracing, it's slower, but it renders caustics very well. But most like 99.9% I've been using path tracing. So let's look at like how it works. Uh, so first, once you have your kernel, like this is going to be your samples. If you're using cycles, like what samples it does. The more samples you have, the less noise it's gonna, have in your scene. So let's leave these as default for now. GI clamp, it's best to clamp it to either one or like something between 1 or 5. Or if you have the default, what is that, 1 million? I guess, yeah, this is going to give you a lot of hotspots, which we don't want. Let's clamp it to 1. And everything else, like, it's good to go. So let's look at environment. Or I'll just add Suzanne first. A beautiful Suzanne. So yeah, now we still have black, right? Like we have to set up a kernel, but we don't have an environment yet. So let's create that. So this is texture environment is going to give you just like bright white. We don't want that. Let's go for HDRI. Let me switch to world. Yeah. So let's switch to yeah, texture environment is good. I guess, yeah. Let's add a RGB image. So all your image nodes are going to be called as RGB image. So just go to your HDRI library and let me add something that I like. Yeah. So this is going to bring your HDRI in. So this is the linear color space. And also one thing to note is color management should always be raw. When you're using aces, only then it'll look right. So whatever else, that's not going to work properly. So just make it raw. And if you want, you can render it out in linear, but I use aces. So to turning on aces is pretty simple. You just like open the kernel, not kernel, open the N panel, and then your Octane imager, and just go down to tone mapping and turn on aces. So now this looks right to me. Now that we have our environment set up and then we have our kernel set up done, so let's just add a material for Suzanne now. Go to object, come here to new. So this will, by default, it will create a universal material, which is pretty awesome. Like, it's basically like the principal BSDF shader. So you can either use this, or there's something called a standard surface, which is Arnold, like something that supports an Arnold as well, I guess. It's also a lot like the principal BSDF. So either these two materials you can use, or they have the standard things like diffuse, metal, and everything. This can, like, the layering is a lot more, like you can do a whole lot more with layering in Octane. So usually I would just switch this to GGX energy preserving, which is a lot more accurate. And a newer model, I guess, like Octane is a pretty old one, I believe. GGX, it just looks better and looks more accurate, and everything else is, yeah. So then, and glass, like this took me so long to figure it out. I mean, back then when I got started. So they don't have a separate glass material, or, something like that. And even in this, I don't think you have a transmission. Yeah. So coming from cycles, it's going to be hard to figure out. So here they call it specular material. Sorry. To research specular material. So this is basically a glass shader. Again, this has a lot more flexibility when it comes to like absorption and everything. You can keep on adding layers to this. So yeah, now let's pause this here, and I'll have a basic uh, a room, and let's just see how to add lights and materials to that. All right, I'm back with a basic scene. As you can see, I spent 280 years creating this scene. Uh, so I mean, I guess uh, this should explain pretty much all the basic things you need to set up light, materials, and then render something out. So right now, as you can see, okay, why is this guy too big? Acceleration. Oh, okay, that fixed itself. So occasionally, if that happens, just either save your scene and like come back to it, or you can go here. Yeah, go here and like change this between a movable proxy or a reshapeable proxy, and then it will usually look right. So, but yeah, that fixed itself for us. So let's leave it there. Uh, right now we have a scene. We don't have any materials, but we do have a HDRI. I don't really want this. So let me quickly switch this to something overcast that I have. Mm. By the way, all of this is from HDRI Haven, so you can just, like, all of that is free. You can just go to the website and download. It's HDRI Haven. Yeah. Now then I'll go with this. Has some good skylighting coming from everywhere. So let me leave it here. And first, let me create glass materials for my window glass. So just select the glass planes, create new. It's going to give you a universal material. Just switch that to spec material. And this is going to give you the glass shader. Switch this to GGX, and already it should give you a pretty nice roughness. So that's good. Let me copy the material. So select both and like keep this as the active selection, and Control L and link materials. So now we have glass done. I'll work on the window frame. So yeah, I'm gonna show you something really cool that I like about Octane. So let's keep things organized. Window glass. Oh my god. Right. Okay, shading. So let's switch to shading, and let me look at the window frame. Yeah, so this is our window frame material, right? Like, so, I mean, we're not going too deep now, but let's say you can leave it like something like here, but let's say I want to add dirt to this, right? Like, so they have a very cool node called dirt texture. So again, just like node wrangler for the cycles in Blender, we have node wrangler for Octane. You just search in Google for node wrangler Octane, and it will take you to a GitHub page, and you can download that. So this is pretty cool. So once I have the dirt texture, if I press Control Shift and left click, it's gonna preview the node. So this will show me what the dirt texture is. So let me add a gradient map. Gradient map is basically our color ramp in cycles. So yeah, I'll give this like a saturated color, and this is going to be a dirt grimy color. Add this to albedo and preview this. I don't want metalness. Yeah, something like this. Let's make this a bit brighter. Yeah. So again, you can fiddle with this dirt texture. One thing that's pretty cool is, let's say if we add any uh, new texture to this, let me add some random gradient map. So yeah, this is from Substance. Like it comes with Substance. I use this for pretty much a lot of things. So if you plug this into the radius map, it will give you like nice breakup for the dirt itself, which is pretty nice. Let's West UV and wrap this and wrap module project. Yeah. So you have really nice dirt details now. And I plug this in. There you go. You have a window frame material ready. Again, this is just like I'm showing you very quick stuff. We're not tweaking anything that much. So yeah, to make things look really good, we would have to obviously spend some time and go through it. So let's add my texture for the floor. So again, same thing that we have with the principal BSDF, the PBR material setup. It's available here as well if you enable the Node Wrangler add-on. Let me just switch to GGX and select the material, and Control Shift T will give you the PBR setup. Let me quickly go to bridge. Let's find some nice concrete texture. Yeah, this one should work. Go to files, copy the path, paste this here. So we need the normal roughness, and let's take the EXR for displacement and then the albedo. So it's gonna set up everything for us. So one thing cool about Octane's displacement is you don't need geometry. It automatically adds geometry and displaces it. It's pretty cool. So this is going to give you, this resolution gives you the basically the resolution of how much geometry you want to add. So let's say if it's 4K, it's going to add more geometry and make it more detailed. Keep the mid-level 5, and then let's add. So basically you can see that it's displacing without any geometry. So like if you look at the geometry, this is my plane mesh, but yeah, it's just basically magic. This is something I find like really cool, but obviously we don't need it that much. I mean, not that intense. Let's reduce the scale to 0.5, something like this. 0.4. Yeah, this works. And just like the HSV node in Blender, we have color correction here. You can add this and like make the texture brighter. Or the slider is pretty sensitive, so it's best you type what you want. So, since this is like a rough material, let's choose or an higher diffuse model. That works best with things like concrete and all that. So yeah, let's leave this here and let me add a brick texture to my walls. Select everything, unwrap, March UV project. Yep. And let me go look for the brick texture that I have already downloaded. Yeah, let's go with this. Just the GGX and albedo, displacement EXR, normal, and then roughness. Ooh, nice. So first let's fix on the scale and then let's worry about the UV layout. So maybe 0.1, too small, 0.2, too big, 0.15. Yeah, let's go with this. Again, let me fix the displacement. So switch to 2K, mid-level 0.5, almost something like 0.1, 0.2. Yeah, I'll leave it at this for now. Add color correction. So first, now let's fix the UVs. Let me bring the UV editor. So this is from Zen UV. I don't know if you guys know about that, and that will give you this quick way to go to the UV editor wherever you choose. So let me select all the R90, R90. Yeah, I think yeah, from interior this should be good. Let me bring this guy near the window so he catches a bit more light. Okay, I guess that's it about the materials. So let's start by adding some additional lights. I'm gonna add a area light outside the window and the garage door. Go to light, Octane area light. Let me make this 90. Okay, like that. This is again like the emission control is here. Let me add like, and again like tweak this once we look into the camera view. And I want this seen in the camera. So let me remove this opacity so it's not seen in the camera. And yeah, let's add a camera and then let's fix on the camera view first. I'm gonna use 35mm lens and then let's increase the clip start a little bit so we're looking inside. Yeah, we're good to go with the camera view. This is all like just to show you guys how to get the image quickly, so I'm not really worried about a lot of things. Now let's just tweak the light a little bit so it looks at least decent. 800. A little too bright. Let's actually increase the world light and then decrease this something like 200. Yeah, seems about right. And this guy as well, maybe around it. Let's scale down the texture a little bit more. 0.3. We're scaling down the floor texture. So and the spec is too much. I feel let's reduce the specular as well. Let's add one. Cool. Maybe 0.1 for a rough material, and again 0.2 for here. Okay, that's pretty much it. We have this guy here, so let's choose the camera and focus on him. Turn off autofocus. Select this guy. And aperture is obviously not controls the amount of depth of field. You don't want this much, let me keep 0.8. And yeah, I guess we're good to go. And yes, Octane has some pretty nice imaging controls inside the renderer itself. So let's say if you want to control the exposure, you can do that here. I wouldn't suggest working on this, like you can do this in an external program, but yeah, to quickly get images like this is pretty nice. So if you want to add vignettes, the saturation control, and what else? Octane has denoiser as well, but it smudges the image a lot, so I don't really use that much. But yeah, they do have a denoiser option. They have an Octane denoiser and OIDN, so if you want to use either, you can use it. And you can come to the post process settings. This is basically it has all the bloom options and uh, things like that. So let me give some bloom, and the chromatic aberration is really good. I really love this. So I basically add this inside Blender, just the chromatic aberration, and everything else I do it in DaVinci Resolve. So maybe something like 0.2 would be good. Chromatic aberration, if you don't know, it just like adds some RGB fringing on the corners, which is a lens effect that happens. So it looks pretty cool. So I'll add it, not this much, something subtle. Um, okay, let's add some actual volumetric fog as well to this. Why not? So go to world. Quickest way to add fog is just come to the texture environment and in medium choose a volume medium. Yeah, make the scattering white and the intensity something like point, yeah, 0.01. Looks pretty nice. Bloom is too much. Let's reduce that a bit. Where's yeah, two. So let me quickly render. Is there a contrast setting here? Nah, I guess we're gonna have to do that. This is fine. We're just seeing how to render something out. So once you have everything taken care of here, let's go and set up our sample. I'm just gonna do it with maybe 800 samples. So this is a default setting that I use for pretty much everything. I just max out, not max out, but make everything 24 and the volume 8 and whereas the GI clamp is 1. So this usually works well for all of the pretty much all of my scenes. And yeah, that's it. Let's render. Hey guys, I'm from future. So yeah, this is the final result. I don't like, there are some few bugs I think like we can fix, and still like this is noisy. So let's see how to use the denoiser as well. Uh, so to fix that, let me just scale this up a little bit so the empty areas is invisible. Let me just quickly check. And let me scale this out as well as Y and a little bit of SX. Yeah, I add some thickness. Yeah, that did it. So why not? Let's add it here as well. I'll just make sure if the normals are in the right direction. Nope. Let's check that. Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. Okay, so to turn on denoiser, you can turn it on just here. Uh, let's use the open image, and since we have volumetrics going on, we need the denoise volume turned on as well. And then go to view layers, denoiser, and turn this on. So this will save the beauty, like it saves both the beauty and the denoised beauty. So basically, it will save the noise image and the this thing, the denoised image. So again, let me start the render and then I'll come back again. Pause this and come back. So the rendering is done. So yeah, we can see that this issue has been fixed, and we still have we're looking at our noisy image. So let's switch to denoised beauty. So this is post denoiser. This is it's pretty good when it comes to denoising, but still I tend to do this in post inside Resolve. So once you're done, if you want to save out the image, just Alt S and go to the location and save wherever you want. So this is OpenEXR and you can save it out as PNG. So since we're not going to be doing any compositing, I'll just use JPEG, save image, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, we have our render out of Octane Blender. So that's it. That's all for this video. If you guys want to see anything else when it comes to Octane, or let me list out my expertise, right? Like Octane. If you look at the old videos, you can see a lot of game assets. So yeah, you can we can do game asset tutorials or like quick speed up view videos, or if you want to do step by step videos, like whatever it is, just comment below. Yeah, I'll be posting a lot more since I have some time in my hand. So I'm planning to get back into YouTube. The other videos will be more structured, so I didn't want to spend more time structuring things and not end up not doing anything. So I figured I'll just start even if it's messy. So we'll figure it out. Let's structure things and we'll figure it out what to post and what not to post. I hope this video helped, and yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.